Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Kindly tell me whether I'm audible and screen is visible. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. So I launched the poll. Kindly give me whether I'm audible and screen is visible so that we will continue the class. Okay, fine. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. In the today's class, we are going to learn about the locomotion and the movement. You all know that in this chapter, mainly you are going to get the 2 to 3 questions. Okay, maximum 2 to 3 questions you are going to get from this chapter. Maximum 2 questions. Okay, so here mainly the question will come from either the muscle or from the joints. In the match the following type of the questions. Okay, and also the assertion, reason type of the questions also you are going to get from this chapter. Let us first we will understand this chapter, then we'll go. Okay. First, we will understand what do you mean by locomotion and the movement. Okay, you all know that locomotion is a type of the movement where it is where the organism is changing the place, right? That is nothing but the locomotion, right? Whereas in the movement, we are not going to change the place, right? For example, while sitting in the same place, I am moving my hands, right? While sitting in the same place, you are moving your eyes. Yes or no? So these all are nothing but the movement where changing the place. If we are going to change the place means that we will call as locomotion, right? Changing the place. Changing the place. Okay, fine. Let us understood the type of the movement in the human being. Mainly we are focusing here is the human being here. So mainly the in the human being, there will be a three types of the movement we can see. The first one is the amoeboid movement. As you all know that the amoeba is a unicellular organism which is comes under the protista. It will move by using the pseudopodia. Yes or no, guys? It will move by using the pseudopodia. The example in the human blood, there is a WBC will be there, right? White blood cells. In that, macrophages and the leukocytes will be there. Here, these will mainly move. It will show the movement by the pseudopodia that is called as the amoeboid movement. Why it is showing the amoeboid movement? To engulf the bacteria, to engulf the viruses, to engulf the pathogen or the foreign particle. Okay, so here in the first video, you can see here, guys. Here, what you are seeing is the bacteria. The small particles are there, right? That is the bacteria. Here you can see that it is engulfing by the macrophages. The macrophages and the leukocyte is going to engulf that. What it will do after that? It will eat. You know that, right? In the lysosome is going to be attached with the phagosome. Then the bacteria is going to be broken down. Then it is going to be released, right? Okay, that we have seen the amoeboid movement in the macrophages and the leukocyte. Remember the examples. And the ciliary movement, where you can see the ciliary movement mainly in the human. So that is in the trachea and the oviduct. You know that in the trachea, the lungs, right? In the trachea, you can see that if any foreign particles are moved inside means that will be thrown outside by the ciliary movement. Yes or no? By the ciliary movement, it will be thrown out. We will do the coughing and all the thing, right? So that is due to this movement. And coming to the oviduct, here you can see the eggs in the second. Here you can see, okay. Here the egg is moving right in the fallopian tube. The oviduct is nothing but the fallopian tube, right? The egg is moving through the fallopian tube. Okay. So here the cilia is helping for the movement of the egg. Remember, okay. Cilia is present in the oviduct and in the trachea. Then coming to the muscular movement, you all know that by the muscle, with the help of the limbs. With the help of the limbs, we are going to do the movement, right? That is the muscular movement. In this chapter, mainly we are going to focus on the muscular movement. Okay, fine. Let us talk about the types of the muscles. I think you are aware of this types of the muscle. We already studied this in the structural organization of the organism, right? Once again, I am repeating here. What are the characteristics of the muscles, guys? Can anyone tell me? What are the characteristics of muscle? What are the characteristics of muscle? This is a revision class. I want everyone to be active. I need answer from you guys. This chapter you are not studying for the first time, right? What all things you will remember, no? That you can tell me. What are the characters? What are the characters of muscle? Contraction, relaxation, very good. That is called as a contractibility. Very good, Nili. What about others? What about Minu, Navyashri, Pooja, Raju, Puneet, Shreya, Simran? Which all the things you remember, tell me guys, whether it is right or wrong. This revision class. No, I want your interaction. That's why. Otherwise, you will think that ma'am simply doing the class, we are not listening. Hmm. Yes, excitability and elasticity. Very good, Athine. Yes. Okay, see here, guys. So these all are the characteristics of the muscle. That is, the muscle is originated from the mesodermal origin. You know that ectoderm, endoderm, and the mesoderm. The mesodermal origin muscle and excitability. The muscle is going to be excite, right? Excite by the signal. Yes or no? Then it will contract. Yes or no? Contract and relaxation. It is called as contractility. And extensibility. It will extend. And elasticity. These all are the characters of the muscle. Okay. Then fine, they'll come to the three types of the muscle: skeletal muscle, visceral muscle, and the cardiac muscle. Okay. You all know that skeletal muscle means the muscle which is attached to the skeleton. Yes or no? Yeah. And you know that these are muscles. The first diagram, see, observe here. These muscles are having the like line structures, right? That is nothing but the striation. The skeletal muscles are having the striation. Okay. And these all are voluntary. These are under the will control. If I want to move my limb, I can easily move, right? If I want to move my hand, if I want to move my leg, I can easily move, right? That is nothing but a voluntary movement by the will. Okay. Then coming to these are very rich in the blood supply. Okay. Because we require the energy to movement, right? So those are all very rich in blood supply. So that's why whenever you do the heavy exercise, you are going to get the pain, right, in the muscles. That is nothing but during the exercise, the lactic acid is going to be accumulated. If you do the more contraction of the muscles also, it is going to be lead to the pain. Okay, fine. Let us go to the next muscle, that is a visceral or the non-striated muscle. Where it is located actually? These are located in the body wall inside the smooth organ. For example, if you take the digestive tract, these all are made up of these smooth muscles. Okay. So visceral organs are made up of these smooth muscle. And the striation here, you can see how it is look like is this is spindle shaped. 1 minute. It is spindle in shape. It is spindle in shape and it is having a single nuclei. Okay. Whereas in the skeletal muscle, these are having the multinucleated. Kindly make a note of this. Skeletal muscles are multinucleated. For one cell, it is having more than one nuclei, whereas the visceral muscles, smooth muscles, are having tapering structure and having only a one nuclei. Okay. It is having one nucleus. Okay. And striation is absent in the smooth muscle, and these all are involuntary. If you ate the food now, are you going to move the food by your will? Are you going to move the food by your will, guys? Into the stomach and into the small intestine and to the large intestine. Is that possible? If that is possible, means we are used to eat continuously. Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me. If the digestion is by our will, means just imagine there is like no limitation for the food. Just we will simply eat the food and just we will throw that food inside the tubes. like the stomach and to the small intestine and to the large intestine. Yes or no? Right. So this is not in our under the control of us. Okay. So it is a involuntary, and this is having the poor blood supply. Okay. Compared to skeletal, it is having the poor blood supply. Then coming to the cardiac muscle, you already know that the cardiac means heart. It is present in the heart, and it is the striation is present, and also it is having branched structure. Remember, guys, only the cardiac muscle here is branched. Okay, and you know that it is also involuntary in nature and it is rich in blood supply. Here you can see the structure of the cardiac muscle. It is having the branched and striation is present. Okay, I think you understood this slide. We will move to the next slide. Can we move to the next slide? Okay. Okay. Let us talk about the structure of the muscle, guys. Skeletal muscle. Now only we understood the muscle, right? Now we are going to in detail about the skeletal muscle. Okay. So first, if we take the muscle, it is attached to the bone, right? Through which it is going to be attached to the bone. For example, if you take this is a 1 minute. If you take this is the muscle, red color is a muscle. It is attached to the bone, right? With the help of tendon. With the help of tendon, this muscle is attached to the bone. Okay. So here you can see that tendon. With the help of the tendon, the muscle is attached to the bone. Okay. And here you can see that if this is a muscle means the covering of the muscle. The covering of the muscle is called as fascia. Okay, cartilaginous sheet that is called as the fascia. Okay, let us understood in detail. So then here you can see the muscle. Okay, this is a muscle which is attached to the bone. Okay, inside this muscle there are the so many muscle bundles are there. Here you can see, guys. If you are taking this mean, this is a muscle. Inside this muscle, there are the so many muscle bundles are there. Okay. These all are nothing but a muscle bundle. Okay. And these muscle bundle are covered by a connective tissue. These muscle bundle are covered by connective tissue that we called as fascia. Okay. That is called as fascia. Then coming to this muscle bundle. Inside this muscle bundle, you can see 1 minute. Yeah. Inside this muscle bundle, you can see another thing is present. That is nothing but inside this pen, the refill will be there, right? Like that, if you extend that means you are going to get that is a muscle fiber. Okay. Muscle fiber. This is a muscle fiber. Okay. Now what I am doing is I am taking this muscle fiber and inside that there will be a myofibril will be there. Okay. Here you can see the muscle, inside the muscle there will be a bundles will be there, bundles. Okay, this bundle is called as a fascicles. Okay, these bundles are called as a fascicle. It is also called as muscle bundle. Okay, fascicles or the muscle bundle. For example, if you take this is a muscle, inside this muscle there will be a muscle bundle will be there. Okay. And if you take this muscle bundle, inside this muscle bundle, there will be, okay, I'm extending this. Okay, inside this muscle bundle, there is a muscle fiber will be there, muscle fiber. Okay. This muscle fiber, you can see here, this is a muscle fiber. Okay. And if we consider this is a muscle fiber, okay, if I'm taking this as a muscle fiber means this plasma membrane of this muscle fiber, it is called as sarcolemma. Sarcolemma. Okay, and here you can see here. Okay, and the muscle fiber, it is having the more nuclei. More nuclei. I told you it is multinucleated. Multinucleated, right? Skeletal muscle is multinucleated, right? It is also called as syncytium. Multinucleated condition, it is also called as syncytium. Okay, syncytium multinucleated similar, and here you can see contain the many nuclei. I think you understood this. See here, this is a muscle. Okay, Inside this muscle, there are the so many bundles are there. Here you can see. These all are the bundle. These bundles we are going to call as muscle bundle. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. This is called as muscle bundle. Between this muscle bundle, you can see here, epimysium is there. Okay. Epimysium, which is covering this muscle bundle. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. After the muscle bundle, if I take this muscle bundle and if I extend this muscle bundle, okay, if I take this muscle bundle and inside this muscle bundle, there is this, if I take this muscle bundle, this is called as muscle fiber. Muscle fiber. Okay, this is a muscle fiber. And if I take this muscle fiber, inside this muscle fiber, there will be a so many, there will be a so many myofibrils will be there. Okay. So here you can see that. 1 minute. Yeah. This is a muscle you can take. If I take this muscle, this is a muscle bundle. 1 minute. I'm getting, yeah, I got confused. 1 minute. Yeah. So this is called as muscle bundle, because these all are muscle bundle, right? Have taken one of the muscle bundle, and inside this muscle bundle, there will be a more muscle fiber is there. Okay. Inside this muscle fiber, if I take this one muscle fiber outside, means here one is there, that is called as myofibril. Myofibril. Do you understood this, guys? Myofibril. Inside this myofibril, actin and myosin filament will be there. Myosin filament will be there. Did you understood now? It will be little confusing actually. 1 minute. Yeah. Did you understood now? Can you give me thumbs up, guys, if you understood this structure means? Okay. If you didn't understood means, kindly see this video. 1 minute. Kindly see this video. There is a muscle. Inside this, this outside is there, no? That is muscle bundle. And now enlarged is a muscle fiber. This muscle fiber having the sarcolemma plasma membrane, and it is having the multinucleate, right? And inside the muscle fiber, there is a myofibril. That it came out, no? This is the myofibril. In the myofibril, you can see that there is the actin and myosin filament. See this video. Okay. The plasma membrane of muscle fiber, not muscle bundle. Okay. Plasma membrane of muscle fiber is called as sarcolemma. Inside the muscle fiber, there is a myofibril. There is a myofibril. And inside that, we are going to see the actin and myosin filament. Okay. Fine, guys. Now, let us talk about the, here you can see, there is in detail about that. We have discussed about the myofibril. The each myofibril consisting of the actin and the myosin filament, right? The actin and the myosin filament. Here, for the actin, it is called as the I band. Okay, actin we will call as the I band, isotrophic band, and the myosin we are going to call as a A band. Myosin we are going to call as a A band. Okay, you see here we have taken the myofibril, myofibril, right? This is a myofibril we have taken. Inside this myofibril, there are actin and myosin filament, right? This is actin filament and the center wala is the myosin filament, right? For this actin filament, we are going to call as I band, and this myosin filament, we are going to call as A band. Okay. And another name for this actin filament is thin filament. Thin filament. Okay, thin filament. And for the myosin filament, it is also called as thick filament. Thick filament. Kindly make a note of this if you didn't understood means. Okay. Do you understood this, guys? About the actin and the myosin? Actin is also called as I band and thin filament. Myosin is also called as A band and the thick filament. Okay, fine. So now let us talk about the arrangement of this actin and the myosin. how it is arranged inside the myofibril. Okay. So here you can see, guys. See what I am writing here. Okay. So this is the actin. Okay. This is the actin which is arranged. Okay. And here you can see that in between the actin, in between the actin, there is a thick filament. There is a thick filament that is nothing but A band. Okay. So here you can see this is the actin or I band or I band, right? Actin or the thin filament or the I band. And this is called as this one, this red is there, no? So that is called as A band or myosin. Okay, A band or the myosin. Okay. And in the actin filament, yeah, in the actin filament, you can see there is a one line is going where the actins are attached to this line. Okay, the actins are attached to this line that is called as Z line. Okay, here you can see both the sides actins are arranged to the line that is called as Z line. Okay, and here you can see the place where the place where these actin filaments are not going to be joined. The place where actin filaments are not going to be joined, no, this place. This place we are going to call as H zone. H zone is nothing but where the actin filament is not going to be joined. Okay. Where it is not joined. That is called as the H zone. Okay. Remember this. Okay. And in the middle, there will be M line is going on. M line. In the middle, there is a M line is will go. M line. Do you understood this structure, guys? Can you tell me whether you understood or not this structure? If the students are there, I sweet boy Ankit Raj. Yeah, you can also namaskar. You can also answer me in the chat box bar from the YouTube. Okay. What about others? Did you understood this concept? Kindly tell me. Did you understood this concept? See here. This is a thin filament. Red color is the thin filament. In between the red color filament, there is a blue color is there. That is a thick filament. We also called as a myosin is there. Okay. And the Z line is the Z line is intersecting the thin filament and the myosin filament is there in the center. The where the actin filament is not going to join, that is called as a H zone. Remember. Okay. I think you understood this structure. And here you have to see here between the two Z line, between the portion of the two Z line, there is a between 1 minute. Yeah. Between two Z line, two Z line, there is a sarcomere. Okay. This part between two Z line, we are going to call as sarcomere. Sarcomere is structural and functional unit of contraction. Structural and functional unit of muscle. Functional unit of muscle. Remember. Okay. Structural and functional unit of the muscle. Sarcomere. Kindly make a note of that. Okay. Fine. Let us talk the structure of the contractile protein. Now only we studied that actin and the myosin are the contractile protein. First, let us talk about the actin filament, guys. Okay. So when we are talking about the actin, I also told that this is a thin filament, right? This is a thin filament. Now we will study how this thin filament is formed. Okay. This thin filament is made up of two F actins. So see here, it is made up of two F actin. So it is like this structure. This is a one F actin and this is another F actin. Okay. And how this F actin is made? How this F actin is made means this is by the G actin protein. G actin protein. Globular actin we will call as. Okay. See here. This is by the polymerization of the G actin. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah. By the polymerization of this G-actin, this whole structure, you can see it is formed the polymerization like this means it is formed the one actin, one F-actin structure, and after that it will form the another F-actin structure. Then finally, it will be look like this. Okay. The people from the YouTube, you can answer me in the chat box, guys. Or if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay. See here, 2F-actin. This F-actin is made by the globular actin. So this is the structure of the simple actin. And also this actin is binded by the two proteins that is called as a tropomyosin and the troponin. Okay. This troponin is having the three subunit, guys. Okay. This troponin, not tropomyosin. Okay. Troponin is having the three subunit. The first one is for the binding with tropo tropomyosin. The first one, it will bind with the tropomyosin, and the second one, the second one, it will bind with the calcium. Okay, and the third one will bind with the, it is inhibiting the, inhibit inhibit actin and myosin joining. Actin and myosin. During the muscle contraction only, this actin and myosin has to be slide, right? Or come in contact. Whenever the contraction is not happening, on that time, this myosin should not come contact with the actin, right? For inhibiting that, the troponin, the third subunit, is going to be bind to this actin. Okay, remember, guys. One for binding with the tropomyosin and one for binding with the calcium, and another for inhibiting the actin and myosin joining. So totally troponin having the three subunit. Okay, and you know what is the function of tropomyosin? It will inhibit the actin and myosin contact. Actin and myosin contact. Okay, fine. So this is about the actin. Now let us talk about the myosin. Myosin filament. The myosin is polymer of neuromyosin. Okay. For example, each myosin is consisting of one meromyosin, like that. It is consisting of the meromyosins. How many meromyosin will be there? Two meromyosin will be there. Two. Okay, two meromyosin will be. Here in the actin filament, there is a 2F-actin will be there, right? So here also two meromyosin will be there. And the meromyosin will be look like this. Okay, snake. It is having the snake head, right? Like that. So this is having the head and this is having the tail. Okay. And the another one is also combining like this. Okay. This head is having the ATP binding site. ATP binding site and also actin binding site and also actin binding site. You have to remember the head. Head only having the both actin binding site and the ATP binding site. Okay. I think you understood this. The head is called as the heavy meromyosin and the tail is called as the light meromyosin. This is the structure you can see here. There is a two meromyosin is there. Two meromyosin. Together with the two meromyosin, we are going to call as myosin. Okay. This is the head part and this is the tail part. Okay, let us talk about the contraction of the muscle, how the contraction is going to be happen. Okay. Okay, kindly listen here. First, we will talk about the this thing. Okay, then we will come to this diagram. Okay, see here, guys. This mechanism of the muscle contraction, it is also called as sliding filament theory. In the sliding filament theory, you have to remember the thin filament is going to slide over the thick filament. This is a thick filament. The thick filament is standing where the thin filament is going to slide over the thick filament. This is the thin filament. It is sliding over thick filament. Okay, fine. How the muscle contraction is going to be happen? See here. First, the impulse or the message will come from the central nervous system. Okay. The central nervous system is sending the impulse. Where it is going to send? It is going to send to the neuromuscular junction. Okay. The neuromuscular junction. Okay. The neuromuscular junction it is sending. There it is going to release the acetylcholine. Okay. Now, this acetylcholine is going to be it is going to be induce the action potential in the plasma membrane of muscle fiber. You know that muscle fiber plasma membrane of the muscle fiber. Inside the plasma membrane of the muscle fiber, the action potential is happen now. Now what is happening? The release of the calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. You know that the endoplasmic reticulum inside the muscle fiber. Inside this muscle fiber, that is called as sarcoplasmic reticulum. Sarcoplasmic reticulum, that is having the calcium, right? That is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Remember, guys, smooth. Okay, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum inside the muscle fiber is called as sarcoplasmic reticulum. That is the storehouse of the calcium. Now the calcium is going to be released. Okay, now what will happen? We know that the calcium has been released. Now you know that. See here, this is the actin filament, right? This is the actin filament. This actin filament is binded by the troponin. Troponin. This is a troponin. When the muscle contraction is not happening, right, on that time, this troponin always bind to this actin when the muscle contraction is not happening on that time. Okay, when the calcium is released, right, because the message was sent by the central nervous system, right? Now the troponin will troponin, the calcium is going to be bind to this troponin, then the troponin is going to be released. See here, now, when the troponin is released, it will unmask the active site for the myosin. Okay. Because where the myosin has to be bind, right? For example, see here, this is the actin and this is the myosin binding site. This is the myosin binding site. Okay. So here only the myosin has to be bind. But during the muscle contraction, when the muscle contraction is not happening, right? On that time, the troponin will come and bind to this. It will mask the binding site. Okay, it will mask. Now what will happen? The calcium is released, right? The calcium will bind to this myotroponin. Now this troponin will be released out. The troponin will be released out. That is unmasking the active site. Now the active site become visible, right? Now the active site become visible. Now this meromyosin. Now the head of the myosin is going to be bind to this active site of the actin. Okay, so what is happening now? Unmask the active site for the myosin. Now the energy from the ATP, now the myosin, that is myosin head has to be activate, right? The myosin head has to be activate now. Now the ATP will be used for the activation of the myosin head. Okay, now the myosin will bind to the actin, then it will form the cross bridge. Okay, it is going to be form the cross bridge. See here. Now we'll come to this diagram. Later you will go to this thing now. Okay. So this is the first thing. Now the myosin head got the ATP, right? It becomes activated. When the myosin head is activated, here you can see ADP is there. Okay, ADP means the ATP is utilized, so that's why it is in the ADP form. Means the head is when the head is activated now. Okay, when the head is activated, it will bind. Now it will, you can see the myosin head bind to the actin. The myosin head now it will bind to the actin and forming the cross bridge. So binding of the myosin head to the actin is called as the cross bridge. Okay. And here you can see ADP is there. Okay. Fine. And after binding the myosin with the actin, sorry, myosin now bind to the actin, right? Now this myosin will it will move the actin. It will move the actin like this. Now the actin is moved. See here. Here the actin is like this. See here. Now the actin is here, right? See here, but here. Now the myosin moved the actin. Now the actin came here, right? Which one is moved now? The actin is slide over the myosin. Yes or no? Now the actin is slide over the myosin. This is called as muscle contraction. That's it. Okay, what is there here? The first, the myosin head has to be get activated by the ATP. When it is activated by the ATP, it will bind to the actin. Okay, when it is bind to the actin, it is sliding over. It will cause the cross bridge. After that cross bridge, it will slide the actin filament. That's it. Okay. What happened in the muscle now? What happened in the myofibril now? So here you can see that. Here you can see that when this contraction is happen, right? 1 minute, I will write it here. 1 minute. I will write it here. You can make a note. When the contraction has happened, right? So here you can see the muscle has been contracted means the sarcomere is contracted. Sarcomere contracted. Contracted means the here you can see that the length between the two Z line is decreasing or increasing, guys. Now you have to tell me the length between the two sarcomere is increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. Very good, Neeli Shruti. Yes. The length between the sarcomere is decreases. Decreases. Okay. Now you tell me the thin filament. Thin filament is going to be decreases or increases. The distance between the thin filament, here you can see the thin filament distance is there, right? That is going to be increases or decreases. Distance between the thin filament. See here. Now it is contracted. It is contracted now. So what will happen? The distance is this one, right? Whether it is decreases or increases. Thin filament distance is decreases. Decreases. Okay. Now you tell me what about the A band? What about the A band? A band is going to be decreases or increases? A band. During the contraction, the A band is untouched. There is no change. There will be a no change in the A band. What about the H zone? What about the H zone in the contraction? What about the H zone in the contraction, guys? Can anyone tell me what about the H zone? H zone is going to be disappear. Because see here, yeah, if the this is the H zone, this is the actin filament, you can see here the H zone is the distance between the two actin filament, right? When the contraction happened, it is going to move over here, right? It is going to be slide over the one actin filament, right? Now the H zone is going to be disappear. Yes or no? Yes. So these all are the things happening. Kindly make a note of this. Okay. Fine. H zone is going to be disappear and Z line is pulled inward and contraction of the sarcomere. Kindly make a note of this all the thing. It is very, very important. And here you can see that. So here the your neuromuscular junction is receiving the acetylcholine. So now what happened? There is action potential is taking place on the plasma membrane and it is going to release the calcium. You can see here the three subunit troponin binded by the calcium and it is releasing the active side. Then myosin binded to the actin and it is sliding. This diagram you can see. Okay, now let us go to the two types of the muscle, guys. One is a red muscle, and another one is a white muscle. The red muscle color is due to the myoglobin, and here in the red muscle there is a more myoglobin will be there, whereas in the white muscle there is a less myoglobin will be there. Okay. Then coming to the red muscle, there is a more aerobic respiration. More aerobic respiration is going to be happen, so that's why it contains more mitochondria. Here there is a less mitochondria, less aerobic respiration. Okay. Then coming to the aerobic metabolism, I told anaerobic metabolism here, and it is slow and sustained contraction, and here it is a fast and contraction is for the short period of the time. Just remember it is having the mitochondria and the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. That is enough. Okay. So now let us talk about the skeleton. Okay. 1 minute. Okay, let us talk about the human skeletal system. Just imagine, guys, someone came and when you're sleeping, someone came and someone theft your skeletal system. What will happen, guys? Someone theft your skeletal system means what will happen? All the organelles and you can see that all the organs in the body is kept in their position by the skeletal system. Yes or no? Okay. So there are 206 bones are there in the skeletal muscle. Remember, 206 bones are there in the skeletal muscle. There will be divided into axial. It is divided into the 1 minute. Okay, let us study about this first. There is a exoskeleton. 1 minute. Exoskeleton and endoskeleton will be there. Endoskeleton. right? When we are talking about the exoskeleton which is covered outside the body. For example, your nails and the hairs are nothing but the exoskeleton, okay, which is present outside the body. Then coming to the endoskeleton, which is present inside the body, okay. So there are 206 bones that is divided into the axial skeleton, which is present in the this position. Here you can see that. 1 minute. Okay. When you're talking about the axial skeleton is present on the median axis. If you see like this, which all the bones will come, no? So those all are nothing but the axial skeleton. Okay. So here in this, you can see the bones of the head, vertebral column. In this position, which all are the bones will come. So those are nothing but the axial skeleton. Okay. So vertebral column and the ribs. So here in the bones, you can see there are the 29 bones are there. Skull is consisting of 22 bones. Cranial bones are 8. In the cranial system, there will be 8 bones will be there. And in the facial bone, kindly remember the bones number. Okay. Facial bone 14 will be there. And in the each ear, there will be a 3 bones are there, right? Incus, malus, and the stapes. 3 and 3, totally 6. 6 ear ossicles will be there, and one iod bone, a U-shaped bone that is present in the neck side. In the neck side, that is called as the hyoid bone. Okay. So totally there will be a 29. And coming to the vertebral column. In the vertebral column that is present in the dorsal side, back side, right? So that is consisting of total 26 vertebra. Remember, don't get confused over here. There will be a 26 vertebra are there. 7 is the cervical. 7 is the cervical. The first cervical vertebra we will call as atlas. Atlas. Okay. The first is called as atlas and the second one is called as the axis. Okay, fine. Then the cervical vertebra will be 7 and the thoracic will be 12 and the lumbar will be 5 that is located near here you can see. So here you can see the lumbar and the last sarcum and coccyx. So this is about the vertebral column. There will be a 26 vertebral column. Remember the cervical number, thoracic, lumbar, sarcum and coccyx number. Okay. And the sternum, you know the sternum is helps in the breathing. In the yesterday's class we studied. It is a 1 in number. Okay, sternum. That is a flat bone. The flat bone. Okay. Then coming to the ribs. Ribs are totally 12 pairs of the ribs is there. We studied in the breathing and exchange of the gases also. There will be a 12 ribs. Between the ribs, there is an intercostal muscle we studied, right? There is a 12 pairs of the ribs are there. In that, the starting from the 1 to 7 pair of the 7 pair, those all are attached along with the sternum and along with the vertebral column. So that's why they are called as the true ribs. And there are 8 to 10. From the 8 to 10, we are going to call as the false ribs because it will attach to the sternum along with the seventh rib. Along with the seventh rib, this 8, 9, and 10 is attached. So that's why it is called as a false rib. There are the 3 pairs of the false ribs are there. And the floating rib that is not attached to the sternum. That is not attached to the sternum in the ventral side, where from the dorsal side it is attached to the vertebrae. So where it is free, right? It is called as floating ribs. So 11th and 12th is called as a floating rib. Here in the diagram you can see. Okay, in the ventral side attached to the sternum and in the dorsal side attached to the vertebra. Totally 12 pairs. Okay, so now let us go to the appendicular skeleton from the lateral side of the body, which all the skeleton you can see, that is called as appendicular, lateral side of the body. Okay, lateral side of the body, you can see the appendicular skeleton. In the center side of the body, you can see that axial skeleton. Okay, fine. First, because the bones of the limbs, hind limbs and the forelimbs and the pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle will come in the appendicular skeleton. Here, let us see the forelimbs. Forelimbs, in the forelimbs, you can see this is a humerus, right? This part is called as a humerus. You can see this humerus is attached to this pectoral girdle. For where the humerus is going to be attached, guys, here you can see this is going to be attached to the pectoral girdle. Pectoral girdle, okay? Pectoral girdle. And by the which joint? By the which joint it is going to be attached, guys? Which joint? Ball and socket. ball and socket, it is going to be attached. There is a glenoid cavity. Glenoid. Glenoid cavity is there. Okay, there is a glenoid cavity is there in the pectoral girdle. In that glenoid cavity, the humerus is going to be attached by the joint ball and socket. Okay. Now you can see that humerus is there. This is a humerus, okay, long. And then coming to the radius and ulna, there will be a two bones is there. It is called as radius and ulna. And the where the wrist bone, here you can see where you will keep the watch, right? That is the wrist bone. That is called as carpal. And this palm, in the palm you can see the metacarpal. And these all are called phalanges. You can count. There is a line between there here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 12, sorry, 11, 12, 13, 14. So here you can count from your side also, guys. Okay. There will be a 14 bones are there in the finger. That is called as the phalanges. Okay. Phalanges are nothing but the finger bones. And metacarpal is the palm, and carpal is in the wrist. Okay, remember. So there are totally it will be a 30 bones will be there. 30 bones will be there in the each forelimb. So there will be a 60 bones in the limbs. Okay. Then coming to the hind limb, the longest bone in the hind limb is called as a femur. You can see here. And there will be a two bones are attached to this femur. That is called as the fibula and tibia. Okay. And here you can see that one more bone is there here inside. That is called as a patella. Patella. Okay. And patella is attached here by the hinge joint. Hinge joint. Remember, patella is attached by the hinge joint. Okay. And here you can see the tarsal. In the where you can put the ankles, right? Ankle chain. That is called as a tarsal. And after that, the fingers, palm here in the leg, we can call as the metatarsal. And the fingers of the leg, we call as a phalanges. Okay. And you have to remember here in the tarsal, we are having the 7 bones. And in the metatarsal, 5 bones. Totally patella, including the patella. So the hind limb is having the 60. So here you have to remember in the carpal, there is a 8 bones, right? In the forelimb. Whereas in the tarsal, it is 7. Okay. Then coming to the pectoral girdle. Pectoral girdle here, you can see this is the pectoral girdle. We will see that this pectoral girdle is having the 2 bones mainly. Okay. So backside is a flat bone is there, right? That is a triangle shape, flat bone, triangle shape, flat bone is there backside. That we are going to call as scapula. Okay. That is going to be called as 1 minute. Yeah, that is going to be called as a scapula. Then you can see that clavicle. Clavicle is going to be present. The bone you can see here, right? That is going to be called as clavicle. Okay. So this is about the pectoral girdle. I have told you the pectoral girdle will help in the attachment of the humerus. Humerus by the glenoid cavity. Glenoid I have written in the upside also. Okay. Then coming to the coming to the pelvic girdle, where the hind limb is attached. Where the hind limb is attached through the pelvic girdle. So here the acetabulum is there. Acetabulum. Through this acetabulum, the femur is attached. Okay. So here you can see the two coxal bones are there. Here you can see this is the two coxal bone. This is the one. And this is another two coxal bone. And these two coxal bones, if you take one coxal bone, it is having the 3 division. The 3 division that is nothing but the ilium, ischium and the pubis. Okay. Ilium, ischium and the pubis in the one coxal bone. Here also ilium, ischium and the pubis. Okay. Kindly remember this two coxal bone. In the single coxal bone, there will be a 3 part. Okay. Through the acetabulum, the femur is going to be joined. Femur is going to be joined by the acetabulum. Okay. Just remember. Then coming to the joints, guy. I think you understood about the appendicular skeleton. Now let us talk about the joints. What is the joints, guys? Joints are the point of contact between the bones and to the cartilages. Okay. There will be a 3 types of the joints are there. One is a fibrous joint. Mainly we can see in the skull. In the skull, there is a skull bones are there, right? 8 bones. There it is attached, right? That bones we are going to be called as fibrous. Where those bones are attached by the fibrous joint, it is immovable. We cannot move that. Okay. Then coming to the cartilaginous, lightly moving, those we can see in the dorsal side in the vertebra, in the adjacent vertebra, between the one vertebra to the another vertebra. there is a cartilaginous joints we can see. Then coming to the synovial joint helps in the movement, okay, movement of the bone. Mainly we can see in the skeletal. Here you can see that, right? Mainly we can see between the two bones, we can see that synovial joint. Okay. Then coming to in the synovial joint, there will be a different types are there. These are very, very important. These are very important. Kindly make a note of this and kindly remember this. Okay. I have told already the ball and socket joint, you can see that humerus and the pectoral girdle. Okay. And coming to the inguinal joint, I have told you already knee joint, inguinal joint, that is the patella is attached, right? Patella is there, right? There you can see the knee joint. And coming to the pivotal joint, you can see in the vertebra, vertebra. So in the vertebra, you can see that there is a first vertebra I have told you, that is the atlas, right? Between the atlas and the axis in the cervical vertebra, in the cervical vertebra, I have told you the first one. The first one is the atlas, right? Atlas. Between the atlas and axis. Second one is the axis, right? The second one is the axis. Between the atlas and axis, there is a pivotal joint is there. Okay. Then coming to the gliding joint is present between the carpal. Here the carpals are there, right, in the wrist bone. So there the gliding joint is there. And the saddle joint is present between this carpal and metacarpal. This is the carpal and metacarpal, right? Between the wrist and the palm. There is between the wrist bone and the joint bone, sorry, palm bone, there is a saddle joint is there. Okay, fine. So now let us come to the disorder of the muscular and the skeletal system. The first one is the myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis is the autoimmune disease. Kindly make a note of this. This disorder is indeed due to the neuromuscular junction. Okay, here the neuromuscular junction does not getting the message correctly. The message is not connecting in the neuromuscular junction. On that time, you are going to get the myasthenia gravis. Okay, the mainly symptoms are fatigue and the paralysis of the muscle, because the muscle is not getting the any message from the central nervous system, means the calcium is not going to be released, obviously means the muscle is not going to be moved, then it is called as a paralysis of the muscle. Okay, mainly it is due to the autoimmune disease, where our own immune system is going to be attacked on the neuromuscular junction. Okay, then coming to the muscular dystrophy, it is due to the, it is a genetic disorder where it will lead to the thinning of the muscle. Thinning of the muscle. Okay, this is a genetic disorder. Don't get confused between the muscular dystrophy and myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis is the autoimmune disorder, whereas muscular dystrophy is a genetic disorder. Okay. Then coming to the tetany, you know that tetanus, right? What will happen in the tetanus? There is a rapid muscle spasm. The muscles will not move actually correctly. The muscle is started to move, but it will stuck, right? It will stuck. That is called as a muscle spasm. That is due to the low calcium in the body. It will also caused by the Clostridium tetani. Okay. Then coming to the arthritis, you all know that the joints will be pain in the elder people, right? That is due to the inflammation of the joints. Okay. There will be a low synovial fluid will be there. Okay. And due to that, they will get the inflammation, the pain in the joint. Then coming to the osteoporosis, osteoporosis is the age-related disorder. For example, you can see in the women, where in the women's when the menopause is happened, when the menstrual cycle is stopped, there will be a estrogen secretion will be very less, right? Low level of the estrogen. So due to that, it will cause the osteoporosis. Okay. Decreased bone mass. Okay. The calcium from the bone is going to be released into the blood for the utilization. What will happen? The bone mass is goes on decreasing. Okay. So that is osteoporosis. Then coming to the gout. Gout is the inflammation of the joint due to the accumulation of the uric acid crystal. So this is related to there is an imbalance in the purine metabolism. Purine metabolism. Purine metabolism. Where you heard the purine, guys? Purine and pyrimidine in the DNA, nitrogen bases, right? When the purine metabolism is altered, on that time, this is going to be, the purine is going to be stored as a uric acid crystals. Okay. So in the joints. Okay. So whenever you are having the gout, no, the doctor will suggest you to take the less non-veg meat. Okay. Fine. So this is about the gout, guys. This is about the disorders of the muscular system. Let us solve some questions, guys. The joint, here is the match the following question. Kindly go through this. The joint between the humerus and pectoral girdle, knee joint, the joint between the atlas and axis, the joint between the carpal. Here I am launching the poll. You can answer me in the poll also. Meanwhile, you can answer me in the chat box also. Very good, very good. Okay. If you are not giving answer in the poll means kindly give me in a chat box, guys. I'm ending the poll. Okay, sharing the result. 67% given A, C 17 and D 17. See here. 1 minute. Yeah. Athene, Neeli, Suti, Stephen, very good. The correct answer for this is A. Okay. You know about the joint between the atlas and the axis is called as what? Pivotal joint, right? Then C should be 4. Let us search for the C. Where is the 4 is there? In only in the one option, right? And joint between the humerus and pectoral girdle is nothing but ball and socket. And the knee joint is nothing but the gliding, that is inge joint, knee joint. Then joint between the carpal is the gliding joint. Okay, fine. Then it's a second question, guys. Charan, there will be a more purine will be released. Purines are there in the DNA is there, right? The DNA is there in the non-veg, right? In the meat, the DNA will be there, right? In the plants also, DNA will be there. But compared to the here, there will be a more DNA will be there. So when the DNA is break down, that is broken down into the purine and pyrimidine, right? So if there is alteration of there is a purine metabolism is not taking place correctly, means it is going to be stored as a crystals. Did you understood, Sai Charan? Okay, fine. So now you have to tell me which one is related to the muscle contraction. So correct statement you have to tell me which one is correct statement. Kindly go through this. Now you tell me which one is the correct answer. Okay, I'm relaunching the poll, guys. You can answer me in the poll. Yeah, very good. So many of them given the correct answer. I need everyone to answer in the poll. Very good, very good, very good. You can answer me in the chat box also. Just we'll go to the question, guys. See here. In the option A, it is telling that it is initiated by the signal central so it is correct one they are telling, right? It is initiated by the signal sent by the central nervous system via sensory neuron. No. To the neuromuscular junction. Yes or no? To the neuromuscular junction, not to the sensory neuron. Then coming to the B, a neurotransmitter generates the action potential in the sarcolemma. That is correct. Then coming to the C, increased calcium level leads to the binding of the calcium with the troponin and actin filament. Right? Wait, I'm ending the poll. Very good. So many of them given the correct answer. A only. Yeah. The correct answer is A. Increase in the calcium level leads to the binding of calcium with the troponin on action fill actin filament. Sorry guys, actin filament. That is also correct. Okay, that is also correct. Masking of the actin site, active site for the actin is activated. Then coming to the masking of the active. No, it is not masking. It is unmasking. Unmasking. Right. Unmasking. Then utilizing the energy from the ATP hydrolysis to form the crossbridge. Yes. The myosin 8 is going to be energized. Right. So that's why it is utilizing the ATP. The E also correct. So that's why option A is the correct. The three types of the muscles are given here. A, B, C. Identify the correct matching pair along with their location in the human body. You can see here, guys, which muscle it is. First, identify the muscles. Okay. The first one is, it is a very easy question. Very, very easy question it is. I'm relaunching the poll. You can see. Yeah, most of them is giving the correct answer. Very good. Very good. Very good. Think once again before answering. The correct answer. Yeah, I'm ending the poll. Very good, guys. Most of them given the B answer. Yes, the correct answer for this is B. Right. The first one is having the striation and multinucleated, that is a skeletal. Then coming to the second one is a smooth, we can see in the stomach. And the third one is a cardiac, we can see in the heart. You have to see this also. Then the next question about the joints only. Matt, you have to match the column A with the column 2. I am launching the poll. Yeah, I'm launching the poll. Yeah, you can answer me in the poll. Okay, meanwhile, we will answer to this question. See here, guys, the cartilaginous joints. In the cartilaginous joint, there will be a slightly movement is there or not? Okay, I'm ending the poll, sharing the result. Most of them given the 75% A answer, then D is by the 25%. Here you can see the correct answer is A. Okay, so here you can see that cartilaginous joint, that is between the adjacent vertebra, right? And coming to the ball and socket, you know that ball and socket is between the humerus and the ulna, and the fibrous joint between the skull bones, and the saddle joint between the carpal and metacarpal. Okay, so which of the following statement are correct regarding the skeletal muscle? Regarding the skeletal muscle, this question is asked in the NEET 2023. Muscle bundle are held together by the collagenous connective tissue that is called a layer, that is called as a fascicle. Sarcoplasmic reticulum of the muscle fiber is the storehouse of the calcium ion. Striated appearance of the skeletal muscle fiber is due to the distribution of the pattern of the actin and myosin. The M line is considered as the functional unit of the contraction called as sarcomere. Now you have to choose the correct statement. I'm relaunching the poll. You can answer me in the poll. Yeah, Naveshri. Okay. I'm ending the poll, sharing the results here, guys. Most of them given the 17 A and B and 67% given the D. Let us see here. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. Yes, Navya. B is correct. So here you can see, guys, A, C, D is correct, right? A, C, D is correct. Here you can see sarcoplasmic reticulum of the muscle fiber. Here you can see which of the following statements are correct regarding the muscles, skeletal muscles. 1 minute. Yeah. Muscles bundles are held together by the collagenous connective tissue that is called as a fascicle. That is correct. Then coming to the striated appearance of the skeletal muscle fiber is due to the distribution pattern of the actin and myosin proteins. That is also correct. M line is considered as the functional unit of the contraction. That is called as sarcomere. No. M line. Is that correct, guys? D option? No, right. Actually, ABC is correct, right? Yeah, ABC is correct. Which is called as the functional line between the two. The I band. We studied about the I band, right? Which line is? Yes, you are going to get the PDF file. Yeah, we are giving the link to you. Link. Okay. The correct answer is A, B, C, not B, right? Sorry. The correct answer is A, B, C. Which line is interacting? Z line. No one is telling the answer. Z line, right? The Z line is two between the two Z line. You can see the sarcomere. Yes or no? Sarcomere. That is actually acting as the functional unit. The M line is middle of the myosin filament. Yes or no? Middle of the myosin filament. That is not actually the functional unit. The 2Z line is the functional unit, not M line. Yes or no? You forget the line also, guys. Z line. Z line, right? See. The correct answer is ABC. Did you understood? Can you give me thumbs up if you understood this means? Okay, fine. So choose the correct statement about the muscular tissue. Okay. The smooth muscles are multinucleated. Smooth muscles, multinucleated and involuntary. Skeletal muscle fibers, uninucleated and parallel bundles. Intercalated disc allows the cardiac muscle cells to contract as a unit. The walls of the blood vessels are made up of the columnar epithelium. You have to choose the correct one. If you eliminate the wrong one, obviously you will get the correct answer. See here, smooth muscles are multinucleated. No, these are uninucleated. Yes or no? Uninucleated. That's why it is wrong. Then coming to the skeletal muscle fibers are uninucleated. No, these are multinucleated. That's why wrong. Then coming to the option D, the walls of the blood vessel. The walls of the blood vessels are made up of columnar epithelium. No. Which epithelium it is made up of? Squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium. Right. The correct answer is option C. Very good, Navya. Very good, Neeli. Very good, Shreya. Okay. So here is the last question. According to the sliding filament theory, now you have to tell me, according to the sliding filament theory, the actin filament slide away on the A band, resulting in the shortening of the sarcomere. The actin and myosin filaments slide over each other to increase the length of the sarcomere. See here, increase they are giving here, increase the length of the sarcomere. Then the length of the A band does not change. Then I band increase in the length. So now here you have to choose the correct one. Here you have to choose the correct one. Very good, Shashank. Very good, Navya. What about others? Very good, Neeli. Very good, very good. Yes. What we studied is, what we studied in the contraction is all is going to be decreases. No increase, only decrease. Yes or no? So your actin filament slides away from the A band, resulting in the shortening of the sarcomere. Slide away. No. So here actin filament slide on the A band, right? That is resulting in the shortening of the sarcomere. That is correct, but not sliding away. Okay. Then coming to the actin and myosin filaments slide over and increase the length of the sarcomere. No, it will decrease. And length of the A band does not change. Correct. The length of the A band does not change. I band is increase in the length. No, decrease in the length. Right? So this question is asked in the NEET 2022. Okay, fine. This we covered the locomotion and the movement, guys. Okay, fine. So we covered the so many questions that is from the NEET 2022, 23, 24 and the 24 re-examination also. Okay. In this chapter, mainly you have to remember the joints and bones number. Those all are very important. Let us end the class by the class feedback. You can give me your valuable feedback. Okay. Guys, where you are doing mistake, no? I am observing here how we are doing the mistake. First, study the concept thoroughly. In the biology, what you have to do is, if you understand the concept very well, means it will be very easy. For that, what you can do, no? If you study the concept, if you study any concept, means you can tell to your friend or you can tell to any of your sister there in the home only, right? For them, you can tell the concept like a story type. If you tell that story type means they will ask some questions, right? You will get that into mind and you will get some questions in your mind only. Thereby you can easily remember the any concept. And you have to solve so many MCQs with your friends, or you can alone you can solve so many MCQs. By that you can find where you are doing the mistake. The mistake you are doing here is not reading the statements correctly. Okay, read the statement correctly, then you attempt the question. Okay. Thank you so much. Let us meet in the next class. Okay, guys, take care. You can give me your feedback, then you can go. Thank you so much. Hello, Gayatri. Gayatri, do you have any question from the YouTube? Okay. Thank you so much, guys.